Why did we quit the UK and come to Poland? Why did we leave behind a beautiful Edwardian seaside town for Poland? I'm the Brit.
I'm the wife.
And this is our Polish life, a combination of Polish and English culture, where we're discussing all things England, all things Poland, and how our life hopefully is improving in Poland. So we've been here for a while now.
4 months.
4 months. And when we talk to people in Poland, in our little town, and we tell them we've left the UK,
Especially the ones who have come to see us in England whilst we were living in England.
it's shock horror. They cannot believe it. They quite often the first thing they say is, "Why would you leave that beautiful little town?"
Well, that's being said politely. Normally they call us effing idiots.
I mean, I could see an old friend in Biedronka. I hadn't seen her for a while. She'd been following us on social media for a while. She'd seen our life. She'd seen, all the things we've been doing back in the UK. And then when she learned Aga was back in Poland, she was,
What?
the jaw literally just dropped,
Yeah.
didn't it, Aga? It was like, why would you come back here? This is a SHIT hole.
Yeah.
And honestly...
And then there's us smiling and we're like, no, we
Yeah,
love it.
we
This
love
is
it.
brilliant.
But I think firstly, one thing I would say is we often take things for granted.
Yeah.
We don't always see the beauty of what we've got when we're in it. We used to live in a life, and Groundhog Day maybe, everything becomes the same streets, the same people, the same shops. Life can get a little bit boring, it can be a bit challenging. And maybe that's something we need to talk about as well. Did we become bored with what we had for many years, and is that one of the reasons why we left? I don't think so, if I'm being honest with you. I think, you back me up on this, Aga, or shoot me down, but I think I have a unique ability to see the future. And, I'm not a fortune teller or anything like that, but I have kind of like this sixth sense, don't I?
Yeah.
I can instantly read people. If people come into this house or if I'm out and about, I can instantly see if they've got an angle, if they're a good person, if they're a bad person.
Even with Polish people.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. You never get it right 100% of the time, but with any person, I can always see. I think a lot of it is in the eyes, a lot of it is in body language. I'm very, very good at naturally reading people's body language. I'm also very, very good at spotting trends, and I'm very good at understanding public opinion.
You're really blowing your own trumpet in
I
here.
am. And why not? Why not? Because this is a skill I've got, and I've always had it. It's not something I've just developed. It's something that I've always had. Even as a kid, I could work things out really quickly. Now, I wasn't smart academically. I couldn't
You're
pass
still
exams.
not.
Still not smart academically, but I'm very good at reading things.
In a positive way.
In a positive
I
way.
don't mean it in a bad way.
No. Thank you for
no.
shaking my hand with my coffee and spilling it all down my leg. That's it every week.
Oh, at least I'm
I
not doing
wouldn't.
this.
I tell her off for that as well. It's so annoying. Kicks the camera, taps the glass, shakes me.
I'm not used
We're
to
not
all
made for all
this.
this. are we?
No.
We make it up as we go along. We really do. But that's us. So like we've said in the past, there's no filters. But I think with me, I've always had this instinct. If everybody is running this way, I want to run that way, and I want to see what they're running for, because that's where I see the opportunity. And I see a lot of people, very wealthy people, moving out of the UK, but they're not coming to Poland so much. They're going to Dubai and places like that for tax purposes. I never thought I would make it in Dubai. I've never been to Dubai, never really been a place I'd want to go to. We're very, very touchy-feely, aren't we? We love to walk down the street holding hands, I'll kiss you wherever I can.
You will
give
grab my
hugs.
ass.
Yeah,
slap.
everything. And I've read you can't do that in Dubai.
No,
do
you
something
know,
like
you
that.
would struggle.
Yeah.
Your love language is physical touch. I don't know how you would survive.
I
in
would be
Dubai.
locked
No, you
up in
would
Dubai
be.
in 5 minutes. I may save a lot of tax, but I would never see you because I'll be in prison, because I just can't stop sort of doing this. And that's just us. So for us, it's very important. I'm in a culture where we can be like that. And I'm not slagging Dubai off or anything like that. If that's their culture, you've got to fit in with that. And I've always said that about Poland. I've got to fit in with the Polish culture. And I can do that, I feel, quite easily here. I don't think I could do it in a place like Dubai.
No.
But why did we leave the UK, and what are the benefits? What are the opportunities here?
See, there's no secret that I wasn't as keen on coming back as you. And
Well, for me, it wasn't coming back, was it? You
no,
were coming back, for me, it was going.
And I think, like, ever since we got together, I always felt that you have given me so much, and I always try to think about things that I can give you. So We wanted a boy. Nobody else is giving you a boy. We had our boy. That was my gift to you. I knew that you always wanted to try life abroad, and you couldn't do it in the past because of all sort of things. And I was in a position that I could make it happen. And there was a lot of other reasons that came into it as well.
There was, but when you look at where we was, I've got to get out of this habit. I always
I'm going to start charging you money every time when you say we was.
So many Polish people now are getting on to me and say, Lee, you keep saying we was, it's we were, and I get corrected by Polish people for my English grammar.
Kids are picking up on it.
I know, and I don't know what, it's just that I come from a council estate. I was not born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I was on the streets playing football in the corner, run-outs, and all of these knockdown ginger, all these little games we played as kids.
We were talking about it in the morning.
Yeah, we were rough kids. We just wasn't,
we were
rough kids. We were just normal, and we just spoke a bit common and a bit rough. And some of these things that I say, I know that are not grammatically correct, but it's just habit. But I do want to change that. I do want to stop saying we was.
I think it's cute.
Yeah, I know, but people always slag me off for it.
Since
we were.
when you actually
care
about people? Oh my goodness, Poland has changed you.
I know. I tell you why I care. Because since I've been here, I've taken on a few little students to teach them English, and I'm very conscious that, you know, if I'm teaching these kids English, I'm not teaching them to get exam ready. I'm teaching them to be confident speakers, but I want them to speak correctly, you know. And if I'm telling them, oh, we was, and they go around and say we was, people say to them, that's not right. It comes back on me, and my reputation is everything.
Oh, so it's all about the image.
It's all about the image and the ego, and
your ego is not your amigo, love.
I've got to cut that out. It's not. But we did quit a lot of beauty for, which in effect is a bit of a building site here where we are. There's a lot of renovation going on, a lot of infrastructure going in. But I think that's where my forward thinking comes into play. I can see the opportunities with property, I can see the opportunities with land, I can see the opportunities with business, because I can see a growing economy. I always think if the building market is quite a signal to how confident people feel. If people will sometimes take on debt or invest in their properties, renovate their properties, build new houses, they're usually quite confident. They're confident about the future. And when you're in a country where people are confident, then there's a lot more opportunities. And I saw in England a lot of people moaning all the time, worried, stressed, on a real budget, a real tight budget, because the prices of everything was going up so much. And I could see a little bit of slowdown. And I could see a trend in that country of declining, and a trend in this country of inclining.
It's amazing how things changed, isn't it? Because a few years ago it was complete opposite. England was like whoosh, where Poland was.
But things always go in a cycle. And we talked about investing, and we talked about our children last week and the week before. And you know, Aga, it's a compounding thing. If you do little things all the time and you don't overextend yourself, you don't take massive risks, then over a long period of time, you win, because everything compounds up into success. And I see Poland as kind of that steady ship where they're not taking massive risks. They're investing in the infrastructure. They're building new roads. They're allowing people to build. They're giving potentially tax advantages for families with 2 kids, 0% tax if you've got 2 kids and you're under a certain threshold. So I can see all these little things compounding up to make this country a very worthwhile country to be in, and a very happy place to be in. Whereas in England, I see the tax just going up and up and up. I see normal everyday people.
That came into place recently, wasn't it?
The wealth tax, the mansion tax. You know, I don't know a lot about it. I've not researched it a lot because I'm not there anymore. But they're looking at putting a mansion tax in now. People. They do this because they think it's a vote winner. They do this because they think, you know, everyday people like me who were born on council estates will be like, yes, this is great, tax the rich, you know, but it's not going to work, because actually the rich people are the ones that have the businesses, the rich people are the ones who employ people, the rich people are the ones who take the gambles and keep the economy going. And when you talk about a wealth tax, I think it was something like on £2 million or something like that. In London, that's just an average house now. You know, there's many properties in London that are on that threshold. So it's not just wealthy people that are going to get hit by this. And they're also paying stamp duty on those properties. They're paying council tax on those properties. They're paying huge utility bills on those properties.
There's inheritance tax.
Inheritance tax. There's so much tax in England at the moment. And when you look at Poland, who are trying to reduce the amount of tax, and I read, and I don't know if it's true, if it will happen, but I read in America, Trump has put in a lot of tariffs on other countries, and now he's looking at possibly reducing the tax the people in that country pay because these tariffs are becoming so profitable. Again, don't know, it could be a vote winner, it could be, you know, just something to boost popularity, but if it does come in, you look at England, who are tax, let's just tax people to oblivion to pay for all of these illegal migrants that are coming in and put them up in hotels and give them luxury lives and, you know, make sure they're safe and secure. You don't get that in Poland.
Oh, no.
You don't get that in Poland. Poland is looking after the people in Poland, in my opinion. Now, I know people will come on and say, Lee, politicians, they're the same everywhere. They're all in it for themselves. And to a certain extent, you're probably right. But when you look at what I think is corruption in the UK compared to what I can see with my own eyes in Poland, this to me seems a better springboard for us and our family to build more success than
we're
England.
not going to talk about politics and religion on this YouTube channel because it just opens the can of worms.
It does, but you know, sometimes you have to, and sometimes you have to open that can of worms, and sometimes you have to open that can of worms to understand yourself, because people will come on and they'll comment, and maybe they'll educate us, and they'll say, no, you're wrong on this. This is what's going on, and we can learn from that. So it's worthwhile having these debates. I see England as becoming a third world country. I really do. I just see it in decline, and I'm not going to lie about this. I rode a wave in England. We rode a wave in England where we did very, very well for a very long time. And I could, like every wave, it will go up and then it will come down crashing. And I could see it coming down to crash. And I could see if we stay here, we're going to be taxed to oblivion. We're going to have to work our butts off to produce a lot of income just to pay the government. What pittance we get left over, we're then going to spend on food, utilities, school fees, etc. Where do we invest? Where do we have fun? Where do we enjoy ourselves?
Really basic cost of living was about £6,000, and that was excluding going out, buying toys for kids or some clothes. It was literally bills and food.
What's that in zloty?
30,000 zloty.
30,000 zloty. Now, 30,000 zloty in Poland is a lot of money, yeah?
Yeah, you can have a good life.
You can have a very, very good life.
If you have
in
no
Poland.
mortgage. And
Yeah. So, you know, we can swap that, and we can come here, and we can be in a country where I feel has our best interests at heart and gives us the base of the wave. You know, England, we were top of the wave, crashing over. Here, I think we're pretty much maybe a third up the wave, and we'll ride that wave. It will come to a time where it will crash here. Everything goes around in cycles. But everything I read about Poland is positive. And everything I read about this country, it's safe, it's secure, its GDP is through the roof. It's doing really, really well financially. It doesn't have terrorist attacks. It doesn't have masses of illegal people who you don't know who they are coming in on little dinghies taking over. Whereas England has all of that. It's just being pillaged. It's just being destroyed, in my opinion. And people will say, "Oh, Lee, you should stay there and fight." How do you fight? What do you do?
You're not a fighter.
No, I'm not. You know, I'm a little man, not big.
Yes, a little man.
I'm a little man.
He's shorter than me. Come on, we had this
No,
conversation
I'm not having
many
that.
times.
No.
2 centimeters shorter, everybody knows that.
Listen.
Yeah, that's much shorter you want.
I'm not. I've been telling her for years that's 12 inches, and I'm 12 inches taller than you.
Yeah,
Definitely. You know
course.
what that means. But I am. I'm not a fighter. I'm a talker.
Yeah,
you know, I
he's a
can talk my
talker.
way out of anything. I can't fight my way out of anything. And you know, people can protest. People can stand up. The government's going to do what the government's going to do. The government are going to do what the bankers tell the government to do. Let's rephrase that. You know, and if the bankers and the money masters are telling the government this is what you've got to do, that's what they're going to do. It doesn't matter how many protests we have, how much fight we have in us, or anything like that. It's going to make no difference whatsoever. But I don't see the need to fight here. You know, I see on the TikTok and X and things like that, that when people are trying to come into this country, Polish people are actually on the border saying, no, you're not.
No.
No, you're not.
But then think about how many Ukrainians we took on. And think about the hatred that is growing in between the Polish people and Ukrainian people, because the government has put so much into the Ukrainians and put aside the needs and the welfare of their own people.
Yes, and I do sense a little resentment there from some Polish people. They talk about that, and they are quite concerned about that. The caveat, the small caveat I would say on that is, if you've got a Ukrainian, you've got a Pole, Lithuanian, you got Eastern European, similar cultures, similar beliefs, similar ways of looking at life, similar ways of living, and potentially the Ukrainians that come in will adopt a Polish way of living. They will work here, they will contribute because they're hardworking people. They're not coming in here with religious beliefs of, we got to change everything, you've got to do it our way, we've got to take over, you can only eat this kind of meat, you can only do this. There's potentially no sort of grooming gangs that they've got in England at the moment. So if you're going to have migrants into your country, you should have migrants that fit your lifestyle, don't want to change your lifestyle, that can integrate. Because if you fast forward 5, 10, 15, 20 years, the Ukrainians that settle here, their kids will grow up Polish, they will speak Polish, they'll find it very easy to live here. They will simulate into this economy, and they will boost the economy because they'll have children, they'll work, they'll build businesses, they'll contribute. Whereas in England, we've got people coming in that are not contributing whatsoever, they're not doing anything other than taking benefits.
That's because you just promoted your country as the country where you literally go on, cross the border, and you do nothing. You just put the application in and you start being paid. You get the council house, you get all the benefits, you get all the money that you're not really entitled to. And I used to get really angry because I had people from Poland contacting me saying, I'm thinking about going to England. Would you tell me what I have to do to get all the benefits? And I'm thinking, I've been working my ass off ever since I got in here. I never claimed a penny from the government. And you just want to have an easy life, and you're asking me how to help you to claim the benefits. No.
But there's the thing, you cannot blame people for trying to jump on that bandwagon. If someone is saying, listen, come to this country and you'll get everything, and you are in a poor financial position, you're not in a stable economy and you don't have much, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you risk everything to go over there and be given free things? But you said something interesting, which is the nature of people in England. You got very angry, and you're a Pole in England. And the English people now are very, very angry. The tension in that country is getting to a boiling point. And I could see this coming a long time ago, and this is one of the reasons why I thought, I want to be out. I don't want to be in a pressure cooker. I don't want to be in a pressure cooker where at any time it could just explode and it could kick off and it could be riots and danger and violence. Why would I want to be there? When I can move to a country that is like this, going up, safe, friendly, traditional values. Yes, it's not as pretty out there as it was. I don't look out my window and see the sea and think, oh, that's lovely. I look at my
snow.
Yeah, we've got snow.
Nice neighbours who are often in the windows wondering what we're up to.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, they're so nosy in Poland. They're so nosy. Everyone knows your business. Everyone knows your business.
Is like a giraffe.
Yeah, I know. But you know what? I don't mind it so much because I've got nothing to hide. We don't do anything wrong. And actually, because everyone knows your business, you're less likely to try anything because you're not going to get away with anything. If I would never have an affair because I love you too much. But can you imagine if something like that happened? It will boom.
You know that hole that we've got.
Yeah, I know. I'll be right in it.
I
would, because the community would come together, her family, her cousins, and everything would boom, and that would be that. And I kind of like that in many ways because people stick together and they look after each other here. And that is a difference between this country. I think people in England are very angry at the moment, very disjointed. They're not living a life they want to be living. And they're seeing people come in, trying to change the way they live. They see an unfair justice system. They see an unfair benefit system. They see people that have served the country living on the streets, and they see people that have come over on a dinghy being put up in a 5-star hotel. And that causes anger, resentment and violence. And we're not quite at the violent stage at the moment, but I think it's coming, unfortunately. But here, I don't see it.
It's really sad because when I went to England 23 years ago, I loved it. I just found it amazing, exciting. It was all new. Everybody was friendly. It was safe. I could go clubbing and walk home at 3 o'clock in the morning, coming back from central London and stuff. And I read a fair bit. I hear a little bit about how much things change. And I think we were really lucky because we moved away from London about, 8 years ago when we went to Felixstowe, the little seaside town. So we haven't really seen all them changes that were happening in London. We heard about it, we watched it and stuff. But it's not looking pretty. I mean, our eldest Annabelle, she was saying about the young people being found in the river, drowned in the river. The hatred towards black people, how much that's growing, all the shit that happens.
There's so much that's gone on now and changed so much. And when you first come to the country, I think you was probably on that wave going up. You come into a country that was kind of on and up, and you rode that wave, and you did very well for yourself. I mean, you come over and you worked remedial jobs, you was a nanny, low-paid jobs, and you built yourself up, you got educated.
£70 a week I was getting.
And then you become qualified, you become care manager, you running businesses, so you rode that wave. But then you started to see how hard it was getting, and you started to see, I think, that wave come crashing down. I look out here and I see that wave just starting. Yeah, a lot of it's a building site. A lot of it, the infrastructure isn't here. Poland isn't perfect. Don't get me wrong, I'm not sitting here and saying life in Poland is perfect. It's far from perfect. There's lots of bureaucracy here. There's lots of red tape here. It's hard to do things here, isn't it? You've got to wait a long time for things sometimes. But it is starting to pick up, I believe, and that's one of the reasons why I want to be here. I love watching my kids walk into school with other kids and integrate with them. I love trying to integrate with people and talk to people and get to know people. You obviously know people here, you've got your family, and we're getting connected with the family again. So from our point of view, yeah, we swapped a very picturesque postcard picture town, which was lovely to look at, for Poland, which in this part where we are isn't quite as lovely to look at, but we're very happy here.
Yeah.
And I think if you can be happy in your life, if you've got a roof over your head, it's a warm house, you've got food in your belly,
everybody's healthy.
Someone to love and family.
Was it Denzel Washington who was saying that we all have problems every single day, every single thing might be a problem if we make it a problem, and then there's a health problem, and the second you have a health problem, nothing else is a problem.
It's true. It's getting perspective, isn't it? But I think sometimes in England it's hard to get perspective when you've got anger in you. When you feel angry, when you feel frustrated, when you see other people coming in and trying to impose a way of life on you, and you're restricted in everything you do, it's hard then to have that clarity of mind, because you have that anger, you have that boiling point, and you then sometimes make bad choices. You don't live your best life. Here, I feel really relaxed.
Yeah, but it's not without any challenges, like you say.
Course.
And yes, we do have the pink glasses at the moment, and there's a lot going on, and there's lots of exciting things going on. But I also think that we're going to have some hard times ahead of us, whether we're in England or in Poland, and that's because the population has become so lazy now.
Do you see that in Poland?
I say it everywhere.
Do you?
Yeah, it's the generations. You know that they say that the weak generations create
strong people.
Strong people.
Yeah.
The strong people create weak people. And
no, you said that wrong.
Yeah, I got muddled up, didn't I? So
yeah.
basically,
really good times create weak people. Really hard times create strong people.
That's what I meant. And I think that's what we've done. Our times, my time when I was a teenager, it wasn't the easiest one. I had to get out of, I didn't have to. I chose to get out of the country, be on my own, be independent, earn my own money. I had to learn, I had to study, I had to work. I was doing 3 jobs, and I was happy. Our kids are becoming really lazy because we're trying to give them so much. Like, I'll give you a little example from school. For example, when I was young, I had to walk to school for an hour. To school, from school, to school, from school. Whether it was snowing, raining, the weather was crap, too hot, too cold, I had to make it to school on time, and I had to walk back from school. We used to drive our kids every single morning. We used to go to pick them up. When the kids, if I forgot my swimming costume or my PE kit at school, my mum would be like, well, you just get on with it.
The difference is, Aga, when you was younger, you wasn't going to get run over by a horse and cart. They went too slow. But
Oh, I think as parents, we just became
your
such
mum couldn't get the horse and cart out to drop your swimming costume off.
My mum was really strict with me, and I sometimes reflect on my parenting skills and the way I act with the kids. I think I'm too soft as a mum with them.
I think that's. Listen, there's lots of
Oh,
gadgets.
you're definitely too
I
soft
am a
with that.
softie,
Oh,
I am a
yeah,
softie.
they got you wrapped
But
up.
human nature is to take the easiest route, and all of these gadgets, all of these, the TVs, the screens, the phones, they're all to make our life easier, and it does make us softer. And we fall into that trap of letting them watch a little bit too long, play a little bit too long because we're busy, we're doing things.
They don't think nowadays. They've got AI thinking
I know,
for them.
but this is the thing, Aga, and this is what I talk about me seeing the future. They've got to understand this. They've got to use this because AI is the future. AI is going to wipe out the majority of jobs, no doubt about that. The majority of jobs are going to go. And this is something else. People said to me a few times, "Oh, why do you teach your kids about Bitcoin? You shouldn't be teaching about that. You should be teaching them Polish." The kids that understand cryptocurrencies, the kids that understand Bitcoin, the kids who understand how to use all of this technology will be the ones who succeed. The kids who don't, the kids who are relying on an education to get a job to do X, Y, and Z will find themselves replaced anyway with AI.
But then I'm going back to the question, do I think that the times ahead of us are going to be hard even in Poland, or is it just England? Yes, I think it's across the whole planet because of how things go.
And maybe, because we're running out of time now, that's a topic for next week. You know, talking about the kids and talking about how we protect them. How do we protect our kids here in Poland or wherever
Do we
you
actually
are?
protect them, or do we make them idiots a little bit? GPS, for example. I was thinking about it the other day. If I was driving with my mom to the hospital, and I thought, if the sat nav on my phone has just gone blank, I wouldn't have a clue where I am. My dad, he used to drive across the country. He was driving with the wood from the woods into the factories and stuff. He knew the whole country and stuff. He could take out the map in the middle of the night, go dang, 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 okay, I have to go that way. I can't do that.
We don't have a map in the car.
No, we don't. That's why if we didn't have the GPS, we would be lost.
No, you look at the stars.
You can't even see the stars.
They're a little too far away. You are someone. But I can't ask someone. I don't speak the language.
What was it the other day that you were asking Alexa? Oh, we wanted to know some. Oh, when we went out of the EU, when Brexit, when happened. Yeah, in the past, you would have to go into the library, you would have to get the books, you would have to do this, you would have to do that. You would have to do so much to get the information. Now it's like, Alexa.
Don't, because you'll come. I've unplugged the rest.
Oh, it's okay. But it's so easy.
It is so easy.
So
but that's
easy.
the best thing. And I'll tell you why next week that's the best thing. I'll tell you why next week I want my kids to cheat and why I encourage my kids to cheat and why I cheated when I was a kid. How about that? Look out for that one next week. We're out of time now.
Whoa.
It's
going to be a good one.
Yeah. Why cheating is good. Not cheating like this kind of cheating, but cheating to get results quicker. We'll see you next week.